You ever notice how some people just pull the piece right out of you? They walk into a room and suddenly your shoulders tense up, your jaw tightens, and your mood shifts. You tell yourself, stay calm, stay composed, but they just know how to push the right buttons. So how do you stay calm around toxic people no matter what? Let's start with this. Calm is power. When you lose your calm, you lose control, and that's exactly what toxic people want. They feed off reaction. They thrive on chaos. And when you give them your emotional energy, you're giving them control of you. But here's the truth. No one deserves that kind of access to your peace. When someone tries to provoke you, I want you to remember one thing. You don't have to attend every argument you're invited to. Not every comment needs a comeback. Not every insult deserves your attention. Because when you react, you play their game. But when you stay calm, you force them to play yours. Let me tell you, something powerful about calmness. It's not weakness. It's strategy. It's discipline. It's knowing that your peace is worth more than your pride. You see, toxic people want you to explode. They want you defensive, emotional, angry, because that's when they win. But when you stay calm, collected, and grounded, you become unpredictable, and that's intimidating. Here's what I've learned from people who never lose their composure. They don't take things personally. They've mastered the pause. Before reacting, they breathe, they observe, and then they decide. So the next time someone throws negativity your way, pause. Ask yourself, is this worth my energy? Will this matter in an hour, a day, a week? If the answer is no, walk away with your head high and your peace intact. Because the calmest person in the room always holds the most power. Toxic people lose their grip the moment you stop responding the way they expect. They can't control you unless you let them. So from now on, when someone tries to drag you into their storm, stand tall, stay grounded, and remind yourself, I am not here to match your chaos. I am here to protect my peace. That right there is how you stay calm around toxic people no matter what. Calm is power, not weakness. When you walk into a situation charged with tension, conflict, or toxicity, your calmness becomes your armor. Most people mistake composure for submission, silence for surrender, or stillness for fear. But calm is none of those things. Calm is control complete, deliberate control over yourself when everything around you is trying to provoke chaos within you. It's strength wrapped in silence. It's confidence that doesn't need to announce itself. And it's one of the most powerful forms of emotional intelligence you can ever master. Because the truth is, anyone can react, anyone can shout, argue, or explode when they feel attacked. That's easy. What's hard is to remain still when your ego is being tested, to breathe instead of break, to respond instead of react. Calmness is not a natural state, it's a trained one. You build it through discipline, awareness, and restraint. And the more you practice it, the more untouchable you become. When you're calm, you can see clearly. You're not blinded by anger or consumed by emotion. You notice things, people's tone, their patterns, the motives behind their words. You start understanding that most toxic behavior is projection. It's not about you. It's about them, their insecurities, their need for control, their fear of being insignificant. And when you see that clearly, you stop personalizing everything. You stop reacting to the noise because you know it's not truly directed at you. It's coming from their pain, not your worth. Calm allows you to move from emotion to observation. You become the observer, not the participant in their chaos. You recognize the triggers, the manipulation tactics, the drama loops they rely on, and you quietly step out of them. You no longer need to win the argument, prove your point, or correct their version of the story. Because you realize that real strength isn't about dominating others, it's about mastering yourself. When you're calm, people underestimate you. They think your quietness means they've won, that you've backed down. But what they don't see is the storm you've already conquered inside. You've mastered the hardest battle, the one against your own impulse to react. That's what gives calm its power. It's not about what's happening around you, it's about what's happening within you. When someone tries to provoke you, they're really testing your emotional discipline. They want to know if they can control your energy. Every time you react, you're showing them your emotional blueprint, where your buttons are, what makes you tick, how to break your focus. But when you remain calm, you give them nothing. You become unreadable, unpredictable, and unshakable. They can't get to you because you've closed every emotional door they try to open. Calm people hold the upper hand in every situation because they operate from clarity. They don't make decisions out of fear or frustration. They assess, adapt, and move strategically. That's why the calm person in any argument often wins, not because they shouted louder, but because they thought clearer. They didn't let emotion cloud their logic or anger override their purpose. They kept their focus on what truly matters. Calm is also contagious. When you stay composed, you disrupt the pattern of chaos. Toxic people thrive on emotional reactions, but when you don't give them that fuel, their power starts to fade. They grow confused, irritated, even insecure because they can't manipulate what they can't move. Your calm becomes a mirror, forcing them to see their own instability. And that's when they either retreat or expose themselves completely. But make no mistake, being calm doesn't mean being passive. It doesn't mean letting people disrespect you or walking away from every challenge. Calm is not about surrendering your voice. It's about choosing when and how to use it. It's about responding from strength, not reacting from ego. There's a difference between silence that comes from fear and silence that comes from wisdom. The first one is weak. The second one is powerful. Calmness also protects your energy. Every time you react emotionally to someone's toxicity, you drain your mental and emotional resources. You carry their chaos into your day, your thoughts, your sleep. But when you stay calm, you contain your power. You decide where your attention goes, and that choice keeps you grounded. The more calm you stay, the less access others have to your peace. You stop living at the mercy of other people's moods. Think about the times you lost your temper and later regretted it. You probably realized that the moment you reacted, you gave the other person exactly what they wanted: control. They provoked you and you responded. But when you stay calm, you take that power back. You decide that no one gets to dictate how you feel or how you act. That is real freedom. Calmness isn't always comfortable. Sometimes you'll want to speak up, defend yourself, or lash out just to feel heard. But maturity teaches you that not every battle is worth fighting, and not every comment deserves attention. Calm teaches you patience, timing, and the power of detachment. It reminds you that silence can speak louder than words, and restraint can hit harder than retaliation. When you're calm, you become your own anchor. You can walk into a storm and not be moved by it. You can stand in the middle of conflict and still see clearly. You can listen without absorbing, observe without reacting, and respond without losing yourself. That's what makes calm people stand out. They carry a quiet strength that others can feel but can't shake. Calmness is the kind of power that doesn't need validation. It doesn't demand attention. It simply times is asterisk. It comes from knowing who you are and what you stand for. When you're calm, you're not performing for approval, you're protecting your peace. You're not trying to prove you're right, you're proving you're in control. And when you master that, no toxic person, no cruel word, no chaotic environment can pull you out of balance. Because calm isn't something you turn on when things are easy. It's something you build for the moments when everything goes wrong. It's your shield, your strength, your silent authority. It's what turns chaos into clarity and weakness into wisdom. Don't attend every argument you're invited to. Every day, people throw invitations your way: verbal jabs, sarcastic remarks, passive-aggressive comments, silent treatments, and manipulative games. They want you to step into their ring, to play their game, to react the way they expect. And most people accept the invitation without even realizing it. They jump into the argument, defend themselves, explain, justify, and fight for validation. But what they don't realize is that every time they do that, they give away a piece of their peace, a piece of their focus, and a piece of their power. You don't have to respond to everything that provokes you. You don't have to clarify every misunderstanding, nor do you need to correct every false narrative about you. Some arguments are not meant to be won, they're meant to waste your energy. And toxic people are masters at this. They know how to lure you into emotional warfare, how to trigger your pride, how to bait you into proving something that doesn't need proof. But real strength lies in walking away with your peace intact, not your ego satisfied. Silence is not weakness, it's strategy. It's knowing the difference between what deserves your words and what doesn't. Because arguments with toxic people are never about truth, they're about control. They don't argue to understand, they argue to dominate. The moment you try to reason with someone who only wants to win, you've already lost your calm. That's why the most powerful people are selective about what they respond to. They don't show up for every fight. They choose their battles with precision because they know that every argument has a cost and not every cost is worth paying. When someone attacks you, verbally or emotionally, your first instinct might be to defend yourself. That's human nature. But pause for a moment and ask yourself, what do I gain by engaging here? Will this change anything? Will this improve my peace, my purpose, my growth, or will it just drain me? Most of the time, arguments with toxic people go in circles. You explain, they twist your words. You stay calm, they raise their voice. You bring logic, they bring emotion. You try to end it, they restart it. You can't win because they don't want resolution, they want reaction. You have to understand something important. People who thrive on conflict feed off your participation. When you don't respond, you starve them, you break their rhythm. They expect a fight and your calm confuses them. They throw fire and you don't burn. They keep pushing and you keep your ground. That's how you take control, not by overpowering them, but by refusing to play their game. It takes discipline to walk away from an argument you could win. It takes emotional intelligence to stay silent when you know you're right, but the most centered people understand that peace is more valuable than proving a point. You can waste hours, even days, defending yourself to someone who's already decided to misunderstand you. And the more you explain, the more you lose yourself in their chaos. Some people don't want clarity, they want conflict. They don't want to see your truth, they want to see your reaction. Don't give them that satisfaction. Not attending every argument doesn't mean you let people disrespect you. It means you know when a response is worth it. There's a difference between asserting boundaries and entertaining drama. You can be firm without being reactive. You can stand your ground without losing your balance. You can say, I'm not discussing this without guilt. That's not weakness, that's wisdom. It's emotional maturity, the ability to protect your peace even when your pride is tempted. There's a quiet power in choosing not to engage. When you don't respond, you're sending a clear message. My time and energy are not available for nonsense. You're showing that your self-control is stronger than their provocation. You're teaching them that your peace has boundaries. Over time, people learn how to treat you based on what you tolerate. If you engage every time someone pushes your buttons, they'll keep pushing. But if you stay calm and distant, they'll realize their tactics no longer work. That's how you train people to respect your space. You can't stop people from talking. You can't control their opinions, assumptions, or projections. But you can control your response or lack of it. Not everything deserves your energy. Sometimes the most powerful thing you can say is nothing. Silence can't be twisted, it can't be argued with, and it can't be used against you. It leaves people wondering, and it leaves you in peace. Think about it. When was the last time you walked away from an argument and truly felt better afterward? Most of the time, you walk away drained, angry, or misunderstood. But when you don't engage, you walk away clear. You keep your focus. You keep your energy aligned with your purpose, not their drama. Because the moment you get pulled into a pointless argument, you stop growing and start reacting. Life will constantly test your composure. People will say things that sting, do things that frustrate you, and push your limits just to see how far they can go. But every time you respond with peace instead of fury, you become stronger. You're building emotional endurance, mental clarity, and self-respect. You're proving to yourself that you are not controlled by chaos, you're in charge of how you show up. There's also something deeply freeing about realizing that not everyone deserves an explanation. You don't owe toxic people your energy. You don't owe them your reaction, your reasoning, or your time. Some people only understand distance, not dialogue. Walking away is not weakness, it's wisdom that comes from experience. It's you saying, I'm done explaining myself to people committed to misunderstanding me. The more calm you become, the more you'll see how many arguments don't actually require your presence. Some things resolve themselves when you stop feeding them. Some people lose their grip when you stop responding. And some conflicts simply fade when you no longer show up to participate. The world doesn't need your reaction to every provocation. It needs your composure, your discipline, and your focus on what truly matters. Don't attend every argument you're invited to, not because you can't fight, but because you choose peace over performance. It's easy to get pulled into someone else's drama. It takes strength to rise above it. Your silence will speak louder than your defense. Your peace will echo longer than your anger. And your calm will always be the loudest message in the room. Protect your peace. Don't trade it for reaction. There are moments when someone's words sting, when their actions cut deep, when their behavior makes you want to lash out and give them a taste of their own medicine. That urge to react is natural. It's human. But reaction is expensive. It costs you clarity, calm, and control. Protecting your peace means learning to value your emotional energy more than your desire to respond. It means knowing that not every situation deserves your presence, not every insult deserves your attention, and not every attack deserves your energy. Peace is not just a state of mind, it's a choice you make every single day. It's a boundary you create between yourself and the chaos that others try to hand you. There will always be people who test your patience, who try to project their frustration onto you, who feed on negativity. But when you protect your peace, you stop letting their noise dictate your mood. You become the guardian of your own emotional world. You have to understand that people who are miserable want company. They'll try to pull you into their world because conflict gives them comfort. Misery loves reaction, it validates them. But when you stay centered and unbothered, you take away their favorite weapon. They can't control you if you refuse to participate in their chaos. Protecting your peace doesn't mean pretending things don't hurt. It means choosing not to let that hurt take control of your life. Reaction is easy, it's automatic. It gives temporary satisfaction but long-term regret. When you react impulsively, you hand your power to the very person who disrupted your calm. You let them decide how you feel, how you act, and how you think. But when you pause, breathe, and protect your peace, you reclaim that power. You tell yourself, I control my emotions, they don't control me. And that realization changes everything. Protecting your peace requires discipline. It's about catching yourself before the explosion, recognizing when your buttons are being pushed, and deciding that your serenity is more valuable than the momentary relief of reacting. It's a skill you build through awareness by observing your triggers and understanding what drains you. Because every time you let someone steal your peace, you pay for it in stress, distraction, and exhaustion. The more you guard it, the stronger it becomes. Toxic people often test your limits just to see if they still have power over you. They'll use guilt, blame, or provocation to pull you into a reaction. But if you stay calm, if you choose silence over retaliation, they lose their grip. They can't manipulate what they can't move. Your peace becomes your protection. It shields you from emotional traps. It's not about ignoring people. It's about outgrowing the need to match their chaos. Protecting your peace also means choosing your environment wisely. Some spaces are loud, even in silence. Some people drain you without speaking a word. You have to be intentional about where you spend your energy. Don't sit at tables where respect is not served. Don't let every conversation occupy your mind. Not everyone deserves a front row seat to your life. The more you grow, the smaller your circle becomes, not because you're arrogant, but because you've learned the value of peace. When you protect your peace, you stop explaining yourself to everyone. You stop chasing validation from people who never understood you. You stop overthinking every move, every word, every reaction. You learn that peace is found not in external approval, but in internal alignment. You can walk away from what disturbs you without feeling guilty. You can say no without needing to justify it. You can rest without feeling lazy. Protecting your peace is giving yourself permission to prioritize your mental and emotional well-being. You'll notice that when you stop reacting, life starts to feel lighter. You stop wasting energy on things you can't change. You stop giving weight to opinions that don't matter. You stop letting temporary emotions make permanent decisions. Reaction often creates problems that didn't exist before, but peace prevents that. Peace gives you perspective. It helps you see that not every situation needs to be fixed. Some things just need to be left alone. When someone tries to provoke you, they're looking for control. They want to see you lose it because it gives them a sense of power. But when you stay calm and composed, you remind them that you cannot be moved that easily. That's how you protect your peace, not by fighting back, but by refusing to be shaken. Your silence, your restraint, your emotional control, that's your armor. And it's far stronger than anger will ever be. Protecting your peace also means protecting your focus. Every time you engage in drama, gossip, or pointless conflict, you lose sight of what really matters. Peace gives you clarity. It keeps you focused on your goals, your growth, your purpose. When you stay grounded, no distraction can pull you away from your direction. You learn to conserve your energy for things that actually build you, not break you. People will misunderstand your calm. They'll call you cold, detached, or unbothered. Let them. They don't realize how much strength it takes to stay composed when you could easily react. Protecting your peace isn't about ignoring people. It's about understanding that peace is priceless and it doesn't come cheap. You fought too hard to find it, so you don't let anyone take it from you easily. You'll realize that peace doesn't always mean everything is perfect. It means you've stopped letting imperfection control you. It means you can be in the middle of chaos and still feel centered. It means that no matter how others act, you choose how you respond. That's true power, not control over others, but control over yourself. When you protect your peace, you learn that silence can be strength, distance can be healing, and calmness can be confidence. You start to prioritize peace over performance, growth over validation, and understanding over argument. You stop living reactively and start living intentionally. Because peace is not something you find, it's something you create, protect, and defend every single day. Protect your peace, don't trade it for reaction.